Hey YouTubers, Jen True here with the True Valley Life channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's video is a follow-up from the fully enclosed tarp configuration video that I did probably, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. So my BFF and I went on a backpack last weekend. I tried the fully enclosed tarp configuration because it was going to be chilly, dropping around, freezing during the night. And so I just wanted to check back and give you an update on how it went. I feel that the trip was very successful, that using the tarp configuration was amazing, and I'll probably continue to use it until which time the bugs come back out and I need to use my tent again, just because the black fly make me crazy, basically. And I have not found a bug dope yet that will make me feel comfortable when I'm in my sleeping bag at night, because you feel like you just have an oil slick all over you and it's like, ugh, and you feel gross. Or it's just the DEET and stuff. I don't like all the chemicals, so I just prefer to have a bug net of some sort and a tent, like a 2-person lightweight backpacking tent, or just a 1-person or hammock even, are all good choices for summer. But I'm definitely going to try the tarp configuration with a bug net and just see what the weight chimes in at. So I'll continue season after season to follow up, on the tarp configurations, and I'll just keep checking back. But anyway, back to this latest trip that we went on. So we stealth camped up in the middle of the White Mountains. And so one of the things that was a little bit challenging was, for any of you that backpack in mountains specifically, you know that you usually luck out if you can find a 6-foot length by like 2 to 3 foot length spot that is completely flat where you could lay down at night. Never mind a big enough spot for your entire tent. It is possible, and I've spent many a night on flat ground in the mountains, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge. On this past trip, we found it was a very nice spot, but it just, like, this is a 12 by 12 foot tarp, and so setting it up out here in the field, I have tons of space. I could set up a 40 by 40 tarp out here, right? But in the Whites, 12 by 12 feet, that's luxury if you find a campsite that's big, that is that big, that's flat. So one of the things is trying to keep your points taut while trying to erect the tent, basically. So I guess as long as you practice at home, you'll know what to do when you get up into the mountains. So again, practice, right? I mean, I think I preach that in all my videos. So practice. If you're going to go ahead and use the tarp configuration for real, in a real situation for camping, I suggest that you try it several times, even spend a night or two out in your yard in it, just so that you understand what you're getting yourself into, because it's not the same as camping in a tent. For instance, the bottom is open. You're completely open to critters. Something to know. I've never had an issue, but it could happen. Just something to be aware of. So other things to be aware of: ventilation. You don't have ventilation in a tent, so you have to make sure that you leave proper ventilation. You're looking at my boot, sorry. Proper ventilation, so that that your condensation's minimal. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about in this video, the follow-up video to the fully enclosed tarp configuration video. The condensation in the tarp was probably the same as a tent that had a vent at the center, up by the center of point of the tent. My BFF brought his tent, and we compared the condensation from his rainfly to my tarp, and I would say that it was probably equal. The one difference being is that in a 3-season tent, you have your bug net liner in between you and the tent liner, which being the rainfly in a tent. And so one thing to just be aware of is just, you wouldn't want your sleeping bag or your clothes or anything to just touch the wall of the tent, the tarp, excuse me, because that condensate would, then be on your bag, and it would just add weight you know, because it would be wet. So the other thing I did was I staked out with wooden stakes. I made wooden stakes with my knife, and I just staked out my footprint so that as I moved around in the night, the footprint didn't get bunched up under me or over to one side or go underneath, because again, there's no floor, and so that you wouldn't want this to go outside the tent, and then now it rains, and that rain is now coming in on your footprint, so you wouldn't want that. So one thing I did was I took fashioned some wooden stakes, and I went ahead and I staked my footprint, one this way and then one this way, so that it was taut like this within the tarp, so that it wouldn't go out or get moved around in the night. If you're short on stakes, if you recall, I said to stake out this loop to use for the door opening to latch it down, so that you'd have an easy unlatch point if you needed to get out. You could also, you know, if you're short on stakes, you could use that stake, but I would recommend not. I would recommend just fashion 2 sticks, and just, you know, you could use 2 sticks that are small enough. You could probably just break them off and use, that's what I did. And then the same on the bottom. And that gives you a really nice wide area to lay down and make your bed out of. And then I just use my Crazy Creek chair off to the side to sit on, like when I put on my boots and such. One of the other things that I did differently from the original video is I used my second hiking pole here to push the back of the configuration out to allow more headspace, so that I could sit comfortably and read a book at night while I was, you know, trying to settle in after a long day's hike. It doesn't usually take more than 2 seconds. I open up the book and I'm sleeping after hiking 10 miles in the whites with a 35-pound pack on your back, or a little less, maybe 32, depending on how much water I was carrying. But yeah, so I added the second hiking pole here and just pushed it out on the ridge line, as you can see here. And then that just gives me a little bit more of an area to sleep and to sit up. The other thing I do is I use this wrist loop of my hiking pole as a place to put my light. Oops, I don't want to pull that down too much. As a place to put my light. I have one of those little blow-up Luna. It's a solar panel, you know, it recharges with the sun. I just attach that here with a little piece of cordage, and it hangs nicely. Or you can hang it up there, wherever you choose. Either place is great. And yeah, so I really enjoyed this tarp configuration. It really worked out. It did end up raining that night in the white, and honestly I stayed bone dry. It was a very good experience. It was very warm in this tarp configuration, more so than if I was in my tent. I've spent some cold nights in a 3-season tent, you know, using my skills, of course, with, you know, a couple emergency blankets and putting on, you know, layers of clothing and such. I always am warm enough, but this was certainly a much more comfortable situation, I would say, you know, for the later 3 seasons. So like late fall, early spring, definitely use the tarp configuration. It's wonderful. It really kept me nice and warm and nice and dry. It had actually rained out all that day, and when we set tent up at night, when we made camp, the ground was wet. So obviously my footprint, I was very, you know, grateful to have it. I put the footprint down. Honestly, the ground, you know, being wet, it didn't, having the footprint, it didn't, you know, really damper, no pun intended, maybe it was. You know, it didn't put a damper on the night, on the camp or anything. Again, I was fully comfortable, fully warm, dry. Love the fully enclosed tarp configuration. I will continue to use it. I highly suggest you try it. Practice, practice, practice if you want to try it. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comment section of this video. I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel and checking out this video. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, and hit that notification bell up the top so you get all my newest stuff. Well, thank you again for hanging out with me today. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please get outside. Practice, 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 practice your knowledge and your skills, and use it, because when you need it, you'll have it. Thank you again. Have a great day, and take care. Get outside. Bye now.